Do I got to do something to allow
No,
you to
I
do that?
think, can everyone see?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Good. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you guys had some great questions that are really helpful, and I'm really excited about that. This particular presentation is going to be specific as it is to just being ready for what you're going to deal with once you're in college, like in the classroom, and then I'll be able to address all of your questions at the end as well, and then anything else you may have, obviously I'm here for you. Before I start, really quick about me. My name is Brittany Clark. I work at Syracuse University. I'm in an athletic advising position, and I work with the football program and women's tennis programs in terms of academics. So, yes, I'm in athletics, but I'm in an education role. And I think because I'm on the athletic side of the house, I get a very in tune and in depth, up close and personal experience on what it's like to be a college student, and then especially, I know one of you mentioned COVID. It's definitely been different with COVID, and I'm going to do my best to help you guys out as much as I can. So topics for today: kind of differences between high school and college, learning how you learn, syllabi, organizational skills, gimme points, and then just some general rules and regulations in terms of how to do well in college. So high school versus college, what's the major difference? And I think everyone has this. One of you talked about transition, and we'll talk a little bit about moving to college here as well. So everyone has this like trying to figure themselves out period in terms of what college actually is. The structure of college: high school is every day. You're going to school Monday through Friday. Most high schools, especially in New York, you have, 8 periods a day. You're on a bell, and every day is the same. College, you'll probably have the same classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you'll have different classes on Tuesday and Thursday. Okay? Another primary difference between high school and college is the amount of work that you are expected to do and be aware of outside of college. So in high school, you could be reminded that there's an exam next Tuesday every single day. You could be reminded in high school every day. In college, you might get a sheet of paper that says you have an exam on October 15th and December 1st, and it may never be mentioned again. You are just responsible for knowing that information. Okay? So it's really important that you have organizational skills, you have a calendar, you have things that are going to help remind you, utilize your cell phone and other technology that you may have in the best way. Accountability is another huge thing. One thing about the structure of high school, it's honestly really, really hard to get off track. You have so many people kind of touching you, making sure you're in class. If you're not in class, you may call a parent or a guardian after a couple days to make sure you're okay. Oftentimes in college, like I said, it's about expectations. So you might have a class that has no attendance policy at all. And in your mind, that may mean I don't have to go. If you know for a fact you don't learn well without it being reinforced, an opportunity to talk to your professor, work with other students in your class, then you need to make sure, regardless of the attendance policy, you are there, you're ready with questions, you're prepared, you've done the readings, you've participated in, discussion posts, whatever the case may be. You have a lot more freedom in college. No one's going to be chasing you around, forcing you to go to class. Working independently. So, like I said, you are going to get a sheet of paper or a couple sheets of paper first day of class of each of your classes, and it's going to just spell out every single thing you need to do and what the grading scale is for this class. The expectation is once you receive that paper, and it's called a syllabus, that is a contract. And if you have a question, it is now your responsibility to ask that. Everyone's going to assume that you understand. So that's kind of the difference between high school and college. I know one of you talked about or asked about the transition. So I'm originally from New York. I went to college in Florida. So one of the main things in terms of transitioning to college is having an idea of your bare necessities. So knowing how to pack. It's not just about packing your clothes. It's about packing toiletries, stuff for the bathroom, cleaning supplies, detergent, making sure you have the necessities to set up your room. Not even if you're just going out of state, even if you're going in state or somewhere that's driving distance. Do you and your family want to pack up the things that you have in your house and then maybe go to a local Target or Walmart that's near college and actually go and do shopping for your room once you're there? Or do you want to get all that stuff now and pack it into your car? Sometimes those questions are answered depending on what type of car you have. If you have, I drive a Honda Civic, we're not going to get a whole bunch of stuff into the Honda. So a lot of my shopping was done once I got to campus. We went to a local Target and just packed things up because it was easier in terms of transport and space. Once you're there, obviously the roommate and the housing situation different on every campus. A lot of, I guess, traditional campuses, there's one room, two beds, not a ton of space, and it's going to be a matter of making sure you're respectful of your area and your roommate's area. Like I said, no one's going to be chasing you around and making sure you're going to class. So oftentimes you'll have an opportunity to discuss or to plan out what type of roommate you're looking for. If you're looking for someone who, kind of wants to go to sleep at a reasonable hour, is up early, those types of things, you have an opportunity to fill that stuff out. If you're looking to experience more of a social side of life, hopefully you can be paired with a roommate that has some of those same things, but can also, you guys can keep each other accountable. Once you get to campus, typically all freshmen are provided some type of schedule based on like a first term enrollment questionnaire. Everyone will have a college advisor or a major advisor, someone you can talk to that is an expert in a biology major or a writing major or sociology major, what have you. That is the person who at the end of the day is going to certify your degree after your 4 years. So that's someone you want to have a good relationship with. It's someone you want to meet with regularly to make sure you're taking the right classes. That's the person who would be able to talk to you about the resources you have on campus, whether it be tutoring, counseling services, those types of things. The other thing you want to look into and discuss with your parents are meal plans, whether you have a dining hall, what local restaurants, eateries, grocery stores, if you happen to have a place with that you can cook or even just have snacks on hand to kind of keep you going throughout the day. So the biggest part is, I think, and especially speaking from personal experience, is when you go to campus, you really start to appreciate all the things that your high school and your parents or guardians provide for you in terms of structure, and just when you have questions, not feeling like you're by yourself. You're going to have to find a routine. And right now, what a high school provides for you or a buildingman program provides for you is structure and routine. So you're going to have to figure that what that looks like for yourself. Okay. So speaking of structure and routine, you have to figure out how you learn. And that's something you can start really understanding right now. Are you good with highlighting? Do you need to utilize flashcards? Do you want to test yourself, like make yourself cheat sheets and test yourselves? Or do you want to test with other people in your class where someone else is asking you questions and you can verbally give them a response and test yourself that way? Are you good at making outlines when you're reading? While you're reading, you're typing down what's going on so you can go back and remember everything you read. Is repetition helpful? Quiet areas. A lot of times when you get a lot of 18 to 22-year-olds away from mom and dad, right? It's, party, party, party. Maybe, pre-COVID that was a little bit more serious. Maybe in COVID you don't have as much going on, but it is so important to understand the resources you have, the libraries you have on campus, where you can print, where you can, mail things, where you can do those types of things. Is where's the closest CVS? Where is your health center? Where can you go get a workout in? These are little different points in campus that are going to become so important and so impactful because this is now your new life. You got to understand where you're going. Okay. Syllabi. So I mentioned at the beginning of every class, you're going to be in college, you're going to be given a syllabus. This is a contract between you and your professor, period. Whatever is on that syllabus, it is expected that you know and agree to this if you remain in the class. And if you have any questions, it is on you to ask the professor. Great professors will sit down and go through and break down the syllabus with you on the first day. As you become older, you get to junior and senior year, you might have a professor hand out the syllabus on the first day and then just get right to it. And you're expected just to go down, highlight, write down the important due dates, things of that nature. So it is important that you have constant communication with your professor. In the syllabus, you'll find out how you'll be graded, what the important dates are for exams, papers, projects, quizzes, homeworks, whatever the case may be, and your attendance policy. Some professors are lenient, no attendance policy at all. Other professors will say if you have 5 or more absences, it's an automatic fail regardless of how well you're doing in classes. So it is, again, on you to know that information, and it'll be different for every class on every campus. It's essentially your guide to success in that course. So break down your syllabi. I suggest everyone either, I know like young folks like phones and all that type of stuff. Great. I'm old school. I had a planner every single year. I still have one now. It's like a written handbook, a calendar. I go through and write down in the beginning every single due date, every important thing, my roommate's birthday, my birthday, parents' birthday, when I can leave for Thanksgiving, when I can leave for Christmas. Just over communicate with yourself. And Sundays are a great day to do that. Sundays is a huge, to me, it was a huge procrastination day in college, a lot of Law and Order, SVU, right? On commercial breaks, guess what? You can write down and scribble in your calendar, and that's a great way to utilize a Sunday. Getting laundry done, getting some cleaning done, and planning out your week is a great way to utilize a Sunday. All right, so high school versus college, how you learn syllabi. So now we're going into, this is team travel. This was specific for student athletes. We'll go right into organizational skills. So things like what I find for a lot of freshmen in college, you take for granted in high school little things like folders, notebooks, and planners. So when I was in high school, over the summer, we'd get like a list of things, the school supplies that we should bring to high school with us. It seemed really trivial. Those things are important. Don't let those things go, especially if they're working for you right now because you're a college student and you're kind of too big and bad for a folder or a notebook or a highlighter. I see students on campus, no pens, no pencils, or, now you have a laptop or an iPad, whatever works for you, figure that out. Priorities, right? So you got to prioritize. If you have an exam next Thursday, but a paper due on Monday, what should you start first? How long is this paper? What is the content of the exam? You are going to have to do all of that yourself. Where in high school, the priorities are kind of built into the curriculum. You're going to be responsible for figuring out where you should start, how long it takes you to write, how much time you need to prepare for an exam, those types of things. Make friends in your classes. Another difference between high school and college is, if you have a sick day in high school, mom or dad or a guardian can write a note and say, this person isn't feeling well. You come to school the next day, you turn in whatever was due. In college, if something is due on Tuesday, November 10th, come hell or high water, it is due on Tuesday, November 10th. Whether you got to email it in, whether you got to go hand it into class on your way to the wellness center to go see a doctor, there are no real excuses unless you have some type of medical approval that says you cannot physically attend that class, and that is the reason you could not hand in that paper. Again, you get a syllabus, which is a contract at the beginning of the semester. So if all of a sudden November 11th, there's a paper that was due that you, for some reason, couldn't get done because you got sick on November 9th, a professor could easily say, well, you knew about this paper August 24th when you got the syllabus. You should at least be able to turn in what you had to that point. And, you know, if you wait till the last minute, whatever the case may be, you could be stuck. So it's really important. Over communicate, okay? I cannot express this enough. Professors want you to reach out, email them, stay after class, come 10 minutes early for a class. Let them know that you care about being successful, and they will work with you to be successful. Work ahead. Please, please, please. Do not get into the habit of doing things the night before, the day of, whatever the case may be. Things come up and you do not have the same amount of access and resources that you have at home. For example, you might, I don't know, something as small as needing something to eat. You could literally be starving and you are on a deadline where something is due at 11:59 at night. In your world right now, maybe a mom, a dad, a friend, you know, a brother or sister can help get you some food or whatever. You don't have that in college. It is all you. So if you've waited now till 8 o'clock at night, you're starving, you can't even focus because your stomach is talking to you. You have to go to the grocery store or go around the corner or you know, DoorDash some Wendy's. You don't have all that time. And it is so hard to really understand and appreciate all your parents, all your teachers, all your guardians, all your family does for you in high school until you have nobody to do it for you. I'll give you a quick story. I was a college student athlete. I ran track in college. And I remember getting to like week 4. I ran track, like I said, in Florida. So it is heat like I'd never imagined. I don't even know how people dealt with it now that I think back. And I remember calling my mom, hysterically crying one random like Wednesday. I didn't realize that my parents put water in the freezer for me every night. And so I would, in the mornings, grab my water in the mornings and go to track practice. So every day I'm waking up in sunny Florida and I would always have room temperature water because I never put water in the freezer. It just wasn't a part of my daily activities. It was just something I did not have to take care of. And something so small, obviously, as simple as being reminded to put water in the freezer at night, I didn't realize how helpful it was that my parents did that for me. And it was, you know, it sounds so silly until you have warm water on your way to track practice and it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity. So take that for what you will. So give me points. So certain classes will give you points just for being there and being awake. It sounds hilarious right now, but you have an 8 a.m. class on Friday morning after, you know, a thirsty Thursday on campus. Sometimes you'll just get free extra credit points for just being there. Pop quizzes or clickers, often based on readings that are supposed to be done prior to class. Get them done. They're little 5-point quizzes. At the end of the day, you have 10 5-point quizzes throughout a semester. That's 50 points for a whole semester. That's half an exam grade. Extra credit opportunities. Sometimes you get extra credit for attending an event, writing a reflection paper, adding to a discussion post. A lot of Zoom stuff has been happening in COVID. Do it. Who cares? It adds up. You never know when you may need it. Always complete assignments, no matter what. Don't ever, so a lot of classes are formatted where It's like you have 4 opportunities and you can drop your lowest one. Don't just not do one and just say, oh, that's the one I'm going to drop and take the 0, because you have no idea. You could take one and get a 40 or a 35, that first like, oh, welcome to college type of moment. And now you have to average that in versus just doing all 4 of them, trying your best and getting your top 3. So don't ever just X yourself out like that. And then this is just pick 2. So this is a reminder. I say this to my student athletes. You can be really good academically. You can be really good athletically. You can be really good socially. Typically, people only exceed in 2 different areas. So whatever that means for you, a lot of athletes try to do it all and end up having to drop off in an area. I really encourage you to understand why you're in college and do that. And it is so important to understand what your purpose is. What is my objective? Ask yourself that every single day, because a lot of students end up wasting a lot of money because they wanted to go and their objective was to have a good time. And if that's your objective, there are a lot cheaper places you can go to have a good time after high school. It doesn't have to be, wasting thousands of dollars in tuition for your parents or in loans to do it. So really understand what your objective is and what your purpose is, and be mindful of that. So takeaways: high school and college are different. Do what you need to do to prepare. Stay true to your unique learning abilities. Just because something is working for someone else doesn't mean it works for you. And don't get lazy. If you know that unfortunately what works for you is outlining and you don't feel like outlining, do it. Put yourself in a position to be successful. Syllabi should equal a lifeline. Whatever is in the syllabus is absolutely what is necessary for you to know. Make sure you know it, outline it, write it down, stick to it. Manage your time properly and pick 2. So I wrote down a couple of questions. Essays. That was a great questions about essays. What I try to tell people about entrance exam essays is colleges are looking for well-rounded classes, not necessarily super well-rounded students. And by that, I mean, so I know a lot of folks that will do a volunteer activity or do all these events to kind of beef up their resume or try to have all these things to talk about in your essay. I would pick 2 or 3 things that are near and dear to you and speak about them with passion. So one of the questions, or the way the question was asked, is, do you need to go in depth? Absolutely. You need to show the college who you are. Okay. When you decide to accept me, this is the type of person you will be getting to add to your 2025 class, 2026 class. This is the culture I will bring to your campus. And this is the type of impact I'm going to be able to have once I leave your campus when you give me the education that I'm looking for. And it is so important to approach essays in a way that's transactional, right? So this is what I want to get from your campus, but this is also what I can bring to your campus, right? And a campus is looking for, most campuses are looking for a diverse student population that's going to reach different areas of New York State, different areas of the country, and will also have an impact in different industries and ultimately be in a position to give back into their college, whether it be monetarily, through alumni networks, or whatever the case may be. So that's what I'll say about essays. Definitely go into detail, but you got to keep it. It's a little bit of both. Go into deep detail, but keep it simple. You don't need to be in your essay talking about the 10 different things that you did in high school. Pick 2 or 3 things that give you purpose, define who you are as a student, as a family member, as a person within your community, and wrap that into how this college experience is going to help navigate where you're going in life. We talked about moving into college and how we deal with that. And then housing, is it worth it to take out a loan? That's an excellent question. College debt is astronomical across, I mean, definitely across our country. Um, I you I really encourage all students to take a look at the industry they're looking to go into. So for example, I'll give you a perfect example right now, educators. Syracuse University right now is in the upwards of $75,000 to attend, with tuition and all things involved. The average educator is coming out of college making between $30,000 and $50,000 a year. So with a similar curriculum to the SUNY system and the same certifications that you need to take within New York State, weigh those options. Is the Syracuse University degree worth what you're looking to go to into the education system? And if it is, then you go that way, and taking out a loan is important. But you got to start to look at things in that way. So that's how I would approach it. If I say right now, I'm 30 now, I've been working for 10 years at this point. Go with the money, especially in the midst of a COVID crisis. If you have an opportunity to get a scholarship, get financial aid, funding, all those types of things, take it. Because a lot of professions are requiring master's degrees and different trainings beyond your bachelorette education that may require some money and resources. And so I just want everyone to be ready for that. So I'll take any other questions at this point as well.
All right. Abdullahi, you joined late. You got any questions? Like what do you need to learn? What skills do you need to know?
I don't have any yet.
Okay. Abdullahi, same question. You just jumped on. Is there anything else that you need to know?
Like question on what?
Anything.
Just
We've been
college.
our last college night in this college series. So you're a senior, you're getting ready. What other questions about college do you want to learn about? We're trying to make sure we can answer everyone's questions tonight. So you guys are all leaving feeling pretty good about where you're going.
So for SU, right? Is it easy to get a job there, like on campus?
So are you talking like out of high school? Are you asking like once you complete 4 years, are you in a position to be hired on by the university? Like, be more specific with your question.
What I meant was like while you're on campus, like first year or like second year, is it easy to get a job there?
Okay. I understand a little bit more. So I know that there are a ton of work study opportunities. There's a lot of jobs that are staffed by students across campus, like front desk opportunities, jobs in residence halls, that types of thing. So I don't know that I would use the term easy, but I know that access to campus jobs is available.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys. So what else do you want to know? Anything else? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got wait, I couldn't hear you that, but did you say like something about like every freshman gets a college advisor, like when they start out? Or?
So that's a great question. Every student on a college campus has some sort of academic support resource. Usually it's based on the major you have. So all biology majors have an advisor that they can go to, that they talk to about, and their main job is to help you understand all the different classes you need to take in order to graduate from that university. So you're assigned, you should be emailing them. You should know who they are. And that is a common mistake that freshmen make, kind of getting to campus and being so overwhelmed that they don't really understand what the resources they have are on campus. So you definitely want to get to know that person.
Okay.
Like when I was in
Thank
school,
you.
I took a couple of classes that did not go with my major, and they did not count towards my graduation. And I didn't know that until after I took them. So I didn't even have to take them. But if I would have went to my advisor and asked him or her, all right, can I take these classes? Then I would have got more guidance. No, you don't need them to graduate. You should take this, this, and this.
Exactly. Happens all the time. Or even worse, students walking across the stage thinking they are graduating and finding out they have 2 or 3 classes left because they didn't certify graduation through their advisor. So mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles are all up celebrating graduation, and little do they know you have 2 or 3 more summer classes you need to take.
So since there's a lull in the questions, my embarrassing college moment was I almost did not graduate because I could not do the proper kick to the breaststroke in swimming.
Really?
I had to get a tutor, and I had to go to the pool every week for like 6 weeks until I could do the whip kick correctly.
Wow. So this was like just a physical education credit?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was so mad at them. It was crazy. I don't have great swimming skills. So,
But you
all right,
figured it out. You do what you need to do.
what else, guys?
And that's a skill in and of itself. I'm telling you, young people, I cannot express to you how important it is to like perseverance or overcoming adversity. Like these are things I know a lot of students that would have been met with that exact problem that would have just said, screw it. I'm not, I guess I'm just not going to, graduate. I'm not going to get the tutor. I'm not going to, this is wrong. Like sometimes you're going to have to be met with some adversity and you just got to do it. So that's a great lesson.
Absolutely. All right. So
I had a question.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Are the SATs important to get into SU?
Yes, very important. SU is a very competitive private school. And so SATs, ACTs, those types of things, very important in terms of keeping a competitive freshman class, but not only that, retention, right? So the higher the SAT or ACT, the higher the score, the probability or the likelihood that students are able to handle our coursework here at SU and make it to their sophomore year, junior year, senior year, instead of coming in freshman year and getting eaten up.
Wait, since like the SATs are optional, like, do you have to submit them? And if you don't, like, will it be a lower chance for you to get accepted?
That's a great question. So you utilize the word optional. So you need to know if your school requires them or not. Syracuse absolutely does. So it is not an optional thing if you're looking to go to Syracuse. Some other schools, maybe it's optional. But if you'd like to attend school here, it is not. So that's a great thing to bring up. It is really important that you know what each school that you're interested in requires in terms of admissions. And just because one school requires it does not require one thing doesn't mean it'll be the same for the next school.
Great question.
It's a great question. And a lot of people get caught up sides. I work with student athletes. You could be at a school that doesn't necessarily require an SAT or an ACT. Well, the NCAA does. So you cannot be a student athlete if you don't have an SAT or ACT, even if you're attending a college that does not require it. So you got to know what you need for yourself.
So I tried to take the SAT last week, and I couldn't get in because I forgot my ID. Like if I reschedule to take it like in a month, will I still be able to send it to SU on time?
I believe so. You should be able to send the SAT scores right from the testing center. So you just need to know what SU's 4-digit code is, which I don't know that off the top of my head. You should be able to look it up on collegeboard.com and send it right over from the testing center.
Okay.
All right. What else? Abdul, any more questions? Hatha, anything? You're still a couple years out, though.
I had one more question. For
Excellent.
the college essay, could we use the same essay to apply to like multiple colleges?
Yes, just be careful. Don't apply to Syracuse University talking about the reason why I want to go to Binghamton University. Be sure to at least change the college name, but also make sure, because most college essays I would say are about the same and you don't have to make many changes, but there are sometimes little differences in terms of like the questions that's being asked. So I would say probably the core or the outline of your essay is pretty much the same, but just make sure you're addressing the little differences that each essay may have. And that's the same for once you're applying for jobs, because, for example, my cover letter is pretty similar. Based on what I'm just applying to jobs in a similar field. And you got to be careful to make sure you change the name on, all the different areas where you might put, applying for Syracuse University or whatever. Because that is like an automatic, absolute no.
All right, Rari, where are we at? Are we good?
Yeah, good for now.
Okay. So I asked this a couple weeks ago too. So if you would give me the top 5 priorities for our seniors right now to get done, to get into college, what would they be?
So SAT, ACT scores, getting your personal statement done, creating objectives for yourself. Why do you want to go to college? What is your purpose of being on a college campus? And understanding what that is. And that'll actually help you with your essay too, because that'll lead your essay. Okay. So I said SAT, ACT scores, personal essay, what your objectives are. Speaking with your family about priorities in terms of financial limitations, what you can and cannot do. That should help you narrow down your college focus, where you want to go, what you want to apply to. And then I would say just take some time understanding like what you need to function. So like making sure little things. Do you know how to do laundry? Do you actually know how to do laundry? Do you know how to cook? Do you know what types of snacks you like? Making sure once you decide what campus you go on, looking at the campus. Where's the dining hall? Where's your residence hall? How far away are your classes? Mapping things out. Like taking some time to really understand your surroundings. When you're 16, 17, 18, especially those of you that haven't moved around much, everything in your neighborhood is second nature. When I go to my parents' house, I can find places that I haven't been in 25 years. Like I have not been there 25, 30 years, but it's so second nature. When you go to a college campus, everything is new and you have to be respectful and mindful of that. So understanding what you need to function is really important.
Thank you. Rari knows all about the snacks, so he ain't got to worry about that too much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else, guys? This has been great. I've been learning so much these last 4 or 5 weeks. Go ahead, Jerry. You got something else?
This is a great series. I'm so happy you're doing this.
Yeah, I got a question. You know how you keep bringing up like like getting to learn how to do the laundries. What if like you're staying home? Like that wouldn't be necessary, right?
So I would say that it's still necessary because unless you plan to live with your parents for the rest of your life, you really need to learn how to live your life on your own. And people, I know Joe right now is laughing because people take this for granted all of the time. And mind you, a lot of people go from their parents' house and then they go and live with a spouse or a significant other, and maybe it's never truly an issue. But if you don't know how to function on your own, it it puts you in a position where you constantly have to be dependent on somebody else to do things, and that's not always a nice place to be. I'll just be completely flat out honest. If you don't know how to do things on your own and you have to constantly depend on somebody else, it puts you in a position where it's not always pretty, and you don't want to always be that way, especially in the world as we have it right now. It's a different world right now.
Man, it was only one dish. Pepper steak and rice was the only thing I could cook for a date that turned out any good. So I realized that I was not paying attention to cooking when I was growing up. It's crazy.
Cooking, cleaning, or even knowing the different types of cleaning supplies you need. Like, oh, this is what I use for the toilet. This is what you use for in the kitchen. This is what you use on floors. Just all different types of things. This is differences between Wegmans, Target, Walgreens. Like, okay, I go to this place for to pick this up. I go to this place to pick this up. Like it can get confusing if you don't really know those types of things.
I also had another question on housing. So if the dorms are not available, I heard that colleges could help you find apartments. Is that true? Around the college?
Yeah, I mean, and it depends on the college, but absolutely, there's usually local housing. I will say, especially for young people, freshmen, it's usually not suggested that they live off campus because of all that goes into. Because you talk about someone, Jerry. I mean, I do hope you know how to do laundry, and if you don't, hopefully in the next couple months you can figure it out. But if you're looking at an apartment, paying rent, paying utilities, knowing the difference between cable and internet and an electric bill. Do you have a water bill? Do you have a sewage fee? If you're in the house, what day does the garbage cans go out? What day does the recycling go out? Where do I get my mail? Like, how often do I have to change the dryer patch so it doesn't set on fire after a couple? Like it gets out of control. So there's a lot that comes with that type of stuff where when you're in a dorm, some of that stuff is easier to transition.
Okay.
And I mean, all types of, especially if you're staying in Syracuse, snow removal, taking care. Do you have a lawn? Are you responsible for mowing the lawn? Like, all types of things come with that.
All right. What else? This was good. We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, I love talking about this stuff. So this is great that you guys are doing this. Honestly, you're steps ahead of your freshman classes. Trust me.
So we try to get these guys ahead. Go ahead, Rari.
Oh, okay. My question is, like, if you like apply to your school on Common App, do you still have to apply on another like application?
So it depends on the school. Usually the Common App, so for a place like Syracuse, the Common App is good for the institution, but then there's a separate application if you want to be a finance major. It really does depend. The Common App usually just gives you all like your personal data, general information about high school. And then there might be a separate application if you want to do a really specific major. So you just gotta, usually is very clear. You just gotta read through it and understand what you got going on.
Wait, so why does like when you search up test optional schools, why does SU come up? If it's like if you need the SAT and the ACT.
Say that again. So what, like, do you need, so you're essentially asking, is the SAT and ACT optional for Syracuse if it comes up? I'm not sure. It might be, it could be certain programs, but with how competitive Syracuse is, there are very few people, if at all. I don't think there's anyone who gets into Syracuse without an SAT or ACT score.
Both of them, or one or the other?
One or the other. Typically, I would say the SAT is still more popular, though.
Well, you could crush the SAT.
I don't think so.
I think it means because of the COVID. Like a lot of places got canceled, I heard.
Oh,
like
yeah,
canceled
and that's
it.
true. And to be fair, guys, my expertise is pre-COVID. Like I'm sure some things have changed. There's some standards that have changed and things of that nature. I will still say, even in COVID, having a good solid SAT score can only help you.
You guys should check with Mr. Smith because he knows about the SAT scores. He proctors them at Nottingham, so he might have some inside information. So check with him this week.
You mentioned a good SAT score. So like, what would that be on a number scale?
So we're out of a scale of 1600. A competitive SAT score, I would say, for a school like Syracuse is 1100 plus, 1200, 1200. That's a good solid. I almost feel a little bit, I wouldn't say unprofessional saying that, but it's really subjective, right? Because if you have a solid GPA, a 3.8, 4.0 GPA, then how competitive your SAT score, ACT score isn't as important. The lower your GPA is, the more competitive your SAT score needs to be to kind of pull everything together. So it really is dependent on the person.
So a 4.0 is like basically 100, right? In that range.
Yep.
So under that, like if you were to have a 3.7 with a average competitive, like a 1200 SAT score,
Mm-hmm.
do you think it would be easy to get in the school rather than having a high GPA and a lower SAT score?
So that's where it goes back to, institutions are looking for well-rounded classes, right? So you want to have everything competitive: your GPA, your SAT, your essay, your extracurricular activities. You're essentially selling yourself as to how you, as a complete package, is going to contribute to the campus community. So it's not just about like what the numbers are, it's about you as an individual, what you're going to bring to that campus.
That's right. When I was a freshman, everybody got to beat me because I had a whopping score of 750 on my SAT. That's why I went to a junior college. Awesome. Guys coming through with some other great questions. Anything else? We're closing in on our hour, but we got a couple minutes left. Awesome. All right. Hey, so our announcement next week on Wednesday, the motivational speaker can't do it. So we have Tony Taylor from Olympia, Washington. That's Washington State, a national motivational speaker. He can't do the 18th. He wants to know if he can do the Monday, the 23rd at 7. So I know Abdullahi and Haitha, you guys wanted me to get him motivational speaker. He's not Eric Thomas, but he's really good. I talked to him today. I talked to him yesterday for a while. It was great. He's really excited, but he can't do the 18th. So can you guys come on Monday, the 23rd? What do you guys think?
I can if I don't have work.
Yeah, that's good. You said 7?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And spread the word,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'll put it in the chats, and we have our own Building Men Microsoft team, so it might be up by then, so I can put in some announcements. So when you guys get put on the Microsoft team for Building Men next week, we finally have our own team page, so we'll be able to do all that. So nothing next Wednesday. Is going to be the 23rd. I'll text them tomorrow, say the 23rd to go. So thank you so much, Brittany. This was great. This is a real lively conversation with some great questions too. So I appreciate all your help.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. Anytime, please just let me know.
All right, guys. Well, thank our wonderful presenter, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you so much, Brittany. That was awesome. Thank you. All right.